So, hello out there. So, got a lovely little ride for you today. We're going sweet spot training, 2 20-minute sweet spot climbs. So it's a flat road, little bump, little bit of descent for a bit of recovery, up the next bump, and you're done. So make sure you've got something to drink today, maybe a towel. Make sure you're nice and comfy on that bike, soft on the hands, bend at the elbows, chest open, shoulders back and down. Checking out those bum bones, supported on the saddle, down into the legs. Tracking in your regular position, making sure your knees aren't overly turned out or turned in. And foot nice and neutral at the bottom of the stroke. So we've got a fairly longish warm-up today. We're going to be doing a ramp warm-up. In terms of numbers, look over on this side of the screen. We're indicating your level of intensity. If you're following your power numbers, your FTP, those are going to be there too. And if you're using heart rate today, there's your heart rate numbers there, also to guide you along. Big deep breaths. Squeeze on a little bit of extra power. So to break down those 20-minute blocks of climbing essentially, we're going to be breaking them down into 5-minute chunks. 4 minutes towards the bottom end of the sweet spot range, and then 1 minute towards the top end of the sweet spot range. So you've got some options here, folks. And you can do this workout many times and just mix it up a little bit. You don't need to stick with what I'm prescribing. You can change up your cadence. You can change up the amount of gear or resistance you've got on your bike. And it's up to you how you feel on the day. So for the 4-minute block, fairly challenging. Zone 3 riding, tempo riding. A little bit of extra gear, folks. And for the 1 minute, number of options. Let's keep it spiced up today, shall we? So, if you maybe like standing climbing, maybe do the 1 minute standing. If you maybe don't want to do the whole minute standing, do the first 30 seconds standing, and then the second 30 seconds, maybe do seated at that higher intensity. Other options. You could maybe switch to a lower cadence for that 1 minute block, and that's going to be firing up the fast twitch muscles in your legs. So that's another option. Or if you maybe want to up the tempo a little bit from that 4-minute section and then up the leg speed instead. Options, options. Lots to choose from. So this is a below lactate threshold ride. Should be able to keep it aerobic all the way. So you're going to be generating lactate. Just because we're not going over lactate threshold doesn't mean our body's not creating lactate, but we should be at a level where we're expelling it and it's not tipping over that nasty point where the burn feels so hard. Keeping it here, folks. Still ramping up on the warm-up, a little bit of extra gear. My earpiece isn't playing ball today. I don't want that dropping out. Big deep breaths, feeling that little bit of extra pressure building in the legs. So for the last 1.5 minutes of the warm-up, we're going to drop the gear back down. Just a little bit. Just ready for that climb. So benefits today. We're enhancing your muscular endurance and resistance to fatigue, and including, but we're increasing your aerobic power. So how are you feeling today? Little check-in with the body. Early doors. Legs, a little bit of fatigue growing there from maybe some workouts earlier in the week. Either way, we're going to do this. So the power's just going to drop off just a little bit, so the intensity. So right here, drop it down just a gear, bit of extra, little less resistance rather, just to give the legs a little bit of a break before we go. So I'm talking about sweet spot. So when we get into that first block of 4 minutes, give you a little bit of a rundown on what sweet spot training is and why it's so smart, and a really good tool if you're trying to base build, which I guess if you're doing this over the winter, you might be base building, aerobic base building, ready for next year. It's a really smart way to train. As always, extra detail always down in the description below with many links to more information if you want to head off and get some more in-depth information. So, 30 seconds to go until we hit that first 20-minute climb. So in terms of bike position, you want to stay up on the tops of the handlebars, just relaxing onto the hoods, a little bit in the drops maybe if you've got them on your bike. Up to you where you feel comfortable. Again, mix it around. For a 20-minute climb, it's not that long, but if you're fairly new to staying on or on effort, it's fairly challenging, right? Right, let's go into the first 4 minutes. Watch your numbers here. Bottom end of sweet spot. So I'm kind of sticking to a nice cadence here, about 75 RPM. Up to you. Do you want to go a little bit slower? A little bit quicker? I might up my tempo just a little bit. That feels kind of nice. I'm going to stay here for 4 minutes. So bottom end of sweet spot. Lovely. Okay, some graphics coming up to help you. Just going to explain a little bit about sweet spot training. Not too geeky, but just give you a little bit of background. So sweet spots training straddles zone 3 and zone 4. And if you look at the graphic up there, the green is your tempo and zone 4 or level 4 is lactate threshold. And you can see that sweet spot sits in between the two. It's a kind of steady to brisk pace, 84 to 97% FTP, 75 to 85 max heart rate. So just below your lactate threshold heart rate. So you're balancing the level of intensity with the level of volume. So we're trying to aim for maximum physiological adaptations, it's your threshold power, with comparatively minimum negative physiological strain. So what's the benefit of all that? Well, it all sounds lovely, Chris, but so what? So if you're base building and you want to do some back-to-back rides, either indoors or on the road, then the benefits of working at a sweet spot is you're kind of working hard enough, but not too hard, that you can't recover and do another ride the next day. So you can replicate over and over again. Warming up already? So I've been smart today. I've got my fan control here. I'm turn up the volume a little bit already. So we're in for a long haul here, team. 20 minutes of fun. So 1 minute 15 to that first little blip in intensity. So remember your options. Stick with this steady cadence and just carry that on for the extra minute. Up the cadence a little bit if you want to. Drop it right down between 60 and 70 RPM, no lower than 60. Don't want to overstress the knees. Or if you want to stand, go ahead and stand. Break up that monotony a little bit. Give the bum a little bit of a rest. If you spend many, many hours on the road, or on any kind of bike actually, then, you know, it's kind of fine. Sitting there for 20 minutes. If you maybe like standing or just to fix it up, just go ahead. Going in 20 seconds. And that'll be the first 5 minutes done. Keep the breathing controlled. Watching the clock. Are you ready? So as that extra, start to load the gears. It's going to drop in. So, your legs, enough gear that your legs kind of go, oh, hang on. That's a little bit of extra pressure. That's fairly challenging, but not so much that you're having to grind the gears. In fact, I'm going to drop my cadence right down. See how that goes. So if you drop your cadence, you'll need to add some gear. Mine's auto setting on my smart trainer because my bike computer is driving the desired power output. 15 seconds, hold it there. So you're not going to drop into deep recovery here, team. That mountain is not going to get flatter just because your legs are screaming a little bit. 5 seconds. Marked increase and back down. So back down to the bottom in a sweet spot, back into tempo. But it's not going to feel mega easy. So if your legs have gone, hey, this is nice. Nice little holiday here. You kind of drop too much gear. Tracking your heart rate, it might be a bit of a lag. Just give it time to settle. Back down and then adjust your gears accordingly or your resistance on your indoor bike just to get into that desired, I'm calling it desired, it's not really, is it? into that planned training zone today, let's say. So I've had a fairly heavy week of not just bike training, of other kind of training as well. So my legs have got a little bit of residual fatigue in them and they're not too happy just yet. And I find, I don't know about you, they're a little bit further into a ride when you kind of get into your stride a little bit. Your legs catch up and go, oh, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So don't beat yourself up too badly if your legs are not feeling all skippy as you start the ride. It'll get better. Cheers, everybody. Keep the fluids going. Now, of course, at any point, if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable on the saddle, you can always just pop up out of the saddle, little posture break, settle yourself back down or give it a little shimmy on the saddle. So if you're new to all this kind of indoor cycling or indoor training lark, there's 2 pieces of kit that I really advise that you use. Number 1, first and foremost, padded shorts, cycle shorts. Or if you don't like shorts, if you want to cover your legs up maybe, you can get 3/4 lengths with a specially designed seat pad that will make your life a whole lot more comfortable. Now with practice, Your muscles will get conditioned. I wouldn't say it'll get really comfortable because I'd be lying, but more comfortable. So definitely get yourself the right kind of kit to wear. Coming up, minute to go. I've got a lot of kit, right? Too much kit. Oops. That's kind of my job, so I don't have many real clothes in my wardrobe. Living cycle kit, exercise kit, all the time. So careful that tension doesn't start to travel up. Don't overgrip those handlebars. Keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. Keeping the tension out. So 30 seconds to go. So what option are you going to take? So I'm currently 71 RPM. I'm kind of quite happy here. But I think I might drop it down just a little bit for that 1 minute effort. Of course, if you want to up the leg speed or stand, go ahead. Going in 10 seconds. So this next one might feel a bit easier because your legs know what's coming. Or they might go, really? There we go. As it drops in. So even at this level, you should be able to hold this kind of level of intensity up to 3 hours, maybe. I mean, it's not going to be nice. It's not going to be comfortable. But physiologically, your body's up for it. Whether your head is, different thing entirely. That's 30 seconds done. See how my legs are kind of... Oh, I didn't drop the leg speed. Look, see, I'm talking too much. Let's drop it down a little bit. There we go. So I'm 65 RPM. So my bike auto adjusts there and it feels much, much harder because I'm going slower to get that same speed. It's going to put on some more gear. 5 seconds, getting warm. Halfway through that first block. There we go, back to 4 minutes. Little check-in. Are you with me there? Are you looking good? Yep. Keep it up. So the music's set, kind of a steady-ish tempo to help you out. You don't need to stick exactly to the tempo, but if you're one of those riders when you're training indoors, really needs that tempo. This is 70 RPM, or 70 beats per minute. Kind of sit there all day. Happy days. Big deep breaths. Quick check in with the heart rate. Are you at the right level? Most importantly, quick check when you're feeling, you know, that your breathing's getting a bit laboured maybe. Quick check in with that heart rate, that it's not sneaking up towards 85. So remember, there's a bit of a lag normally. If it's creeping up to 83, 84, drop a little bit of gear, drop a little bit of leg speed, get the control back, and then carry on. So my heart rate here, so I'm doing 75% of my FTP. Bang on. Heart rate, 76%, which is a little bit high. But then, as I said, I'm carrying a little bit of extra fatigue. Body's probably feeling that. Nice one. 2 minutes. That little bit of icing on top of that little cake. Are you still smiling? Or weren't you smiling in the first place? Well, if you weren't, hopefully you are now. So I'm going to be putting together a short vlog on sweet spot training. So my vlogs aren't going to be very long. Just little snippets, little sound bites. bit of background to send you off in the right direction if you need some more information. So look out for those coming up. I'm trying to do one of those a week. So any comments you want to leave after you had a go at this workout? A minute to go. Anything you want to know a little bit more about? Leave a comment. So I'm starting to settle into this effort now. Legs are catching up. I kind of know what's expected of them. Heart rate's dropped down. 30 seconds. Check the position. Comfy. I think I'm going to drop down to the drops for the next minute effort. Do you want to do that? Do you want to stand? Go ahead. Ready to load the gear. 2, 1. Load it on. 1 minute. So as that extra gear or intensity pushes back through the feet, keep that stroke smooth. Don't overly stamp as you start to increase the power, the level of intensity, level of fun. Keep it smooth all the way around. Should look totally effortless. Halfway through that little extra effort. Quick check in with the feet. Hold it there. Heart rate's good. How's your heart rate? Quick check. I'm 80% here, it's all good. At 84% FTP. So within range, it's all good. 4 minutes. One little bitty block, and you're 20 minutes done already. Hooray! So a little note on foot positioning. Oh, I didn't mention the second piece of kit. I'll come on to that. Just having too much fun, you see. So your foot, you want to aim for a nice neutral position at the bottom of the stroke. So if you've ever seen any pro footage, pro cyclists, have a look. And there's quite a wide variance in the peloton of foot positioning, but on the whole, you'll find at the bottom of the stroke, most pros will have their foot fairly neutral as it comes down, and then it'll tip back up as it comes back over the top, kind of in that movement. If you find, or get someone to look at you, especially if you're on an indoor cycling bike or a turbo, get someone to have a look at your foot position at the bottom of the stroke. Now the camera angle I've got on here is fairly high up to down, so it looks like my foot is fairly dipped. But I can guarantee you it's pretty much flat at the bottom of the stroke. So if you've got a tendency to dip your toes a little bit, fair enough. Number of reasons for that. It may well be that you're lacking flexibility up the back of the leg. That's a common issue, especially if you sit at a desk all day, you're in flexion, and sitting on a bike for hours doesn't really help with that, does it? Let's face it. If you're sitting in flexion, the muscles on the back of the leg have a tendency to be under more pressure. And the muscles themselves don't really shorten, it's the kind of tendons and ligaments will shorten. So whoever tries to touch your toes and you can't, it's kind of you're lacking a little bit of flexibility and biomechanical function in a number of the joints in the leg. So maybe work on that. Or if you've just, no one's told you that you need to keep your foot flat, may well be another minute to go. So that's your kind of default bike position. But keeping the foot and your heel down, just so you feel a tiny little mild stretch, maybe in the calf muscles, bottom of the stroke, spot on. So another vlog coming up, which I'm really excited about. So I'm an intrinsic biomechanics coach. I'm going to give you my top tips. So some biomechanics, little releases and exercises that you can use before and after your workouts. In fact, I do mine every single day. Are you ready for this last effort? And then I will mention the second piece of kit. Going in around about 10 seconds. And then you've got that first 20-minute block done. Woohoo! So what are you going to do this time? So I think I might just up my leg speed this time. So let's mix it up a little bit. So increasing your leg speed typically is going to push your heart rate up. Muscles working a little bit quicker. So aerobically, tends to be a little bit harder. You've got a faster leg speed. So just keep an eye on that heart rate, that it doesn't sneak up. Oh, and if you are bouncing, listening to that, make sure you've got enough gear on. So as you up your leg speed, try not to drive from the top of the stroke to the bottom too hard, because you might have a tendency to bounce on the saddle. If you drag up from the bottom back of the stroke, you'll stick like glue. Nearly there. Recovery coming. Spoiling you. Okay. Drop that gear. Drop it right down. I want you to drop that intensity right down to the bottom. How's the sweat going? Nice. We don't look great, do we? Let's face it, we're on our turbo setups or indoor bike setups. Not the place to look glamorous. So, second piece of kit. Cycle shoes. You don't need to spend a fortune on cycle shoes, right? I mean, just any kind of cycle shoes will do. So, if you're not comfortable using those outdoors, on your bike outdoors, or you want to practice using clipped or pedals with clips on, then here's your place to try. Clipping in and out, let's face it, first time you put cycle shoes on, how long did you spend there trying to get your shoes in and out of those pedals? Mildly terrifying if you're trying it out on the road. But on an indoor bike, that's fine. Lots of different kinds of clipless systems. I'm not going to advise on that. It's up to you. Benefits of using cycle shoes. So why? Why? Well, as you're directly attached, there's going to be, so if you've got cages on your setup and you're wearing trainers maybe, a couple of things. So your trainers have probably got a squishy sole on them. So as you apply the pressure on the downstroke, you're applying some pressure to squish those trainers. You're losing a little bit of power through the pedals. So cycle shoes got hard sole. So your foot is directly attached to that hard sole. Not literally. And as you apply pressure, it's going right into the pedal. So you're not losing any power out of it. Or so what? I don't care. Okay. Also, your setup will be such that your foot is in exactly the right position on the pedal. So this is an optimum foot position. So as you apply pressure, you're pushing through the right part of the foot. So most cages are set up. Most people just ram their foot right to the end. So if you've only got size little 4 feet maybe, that's UK 4. That's kind of no good because your foot's going to be too far forwards. It's going to mess up your position for your knees, everything else in between. How's the heart rate coming down? Breathe, breathe. I'm talking, so mine hasn't got much choice, to be honest. Breathe yours down, drop the gear, get the fluids on. So, foot positioning on the pedal, really important. And you know, I kind of want all my effort to go into pushing my pedals round, not into squishing my trainers. They're just, and it's way more comfortable, just way more comfortable. So, yes, you don't need to spend a fortune. Just got a cheap pair of cycle shoes. The wood happens a little bit bigger than your regular size, so your toes have got plenty of space. And if you're going out on the road in the winter, maybe you want to wear slightly fatter socks. So there you go, there's my 2 top tips. So, kind of instructing, people say, oh, you know, what should I use, what should I do? Those are my 2 top tips. Make your life a whole lot easier. Again, I've got too many pairs of cycle shoes. Oops. I found a kind of setup that works for me. Oh, that's all good. So how are you recovering? Heart rate dropped right down. Woo, look at that. Nice. Feeling amazing. Thinking, why do I need all this time to recover? That's because we've got another little 20-minute effort coming up. We are going. Actually, we're going now. Oh, there we go. We're back in. Add the gear. That snuck up. Where did that 5 minutes go? 5 minutes. Recovery. Whoosh. Effort. Oh, very slow. That. Maybe start to feed the gear in or the resistance slowly. I haven't got much choice. Mine just goes bang straight in. Your legs may have switched off a little bit. Give them a chance to catch up. Start to bring that heart rate back up. Let's get this second block done. So how are you approaching this mentally? Are you thinking, oh no, I can't do another 20 minutes? Or are you going, come on then, let's have this. Too much fun. I'm a kind of a too much kind of fun rider, definitely. The more hurt, the better. Bring it on. 30-kilometre climb at Galibier. Yay! Woohoo! Hours of fun. So, this is a 60-minute ride today. So what kind of rides do you like? You know, are you hardcore indoors? Could you do an hour and a half? I mean, I'd quite happily put together an hour and a half class if anybody's interested. Let me know in the comments. Let's do that. So we could do a mixed intensity, bit of endurance work, tempo, a little bit of spice on the top if you really want it. Happy days. About 2 minutes to go. That little minute. So what did you do last time? Maybe change it up a little bit this time. Stand. Up the tempo. Drop the tempo down. Choices. How's the heart rate doing? So numbers here, remember. So, all points in this class today, as we're staying below lactate threshold, you should be able to clamp your mouth closed, breathe in and out fairly happily. On the minute sections, a little bit harder. But on 4 minute sections, definitely aerobic. So you should be able to clamp the mouth closed, breathe in and out through the nose. How are you doing on the bike? Little jiggle. Keeping it smooth. 40 seconds to go. Woohoo! How are we doing? Happy? Happy place. I think we might turn the fan up actually. Let's get a bit of air moving. Too much hot air in here already. Ready to go. Do you want to change your bike position? So you amend the minute of effort. You're happy just plodding away here? No problem. So I am going to drop my leg speed right down. As you do that, you need to load some extra gear on, folks, or resistance. It's at 62 RPM, and I can tell you, that's tapping right into muscular strength right there. Hold it. Or you might have gone the other way. You might have dropped a little bit of gear and up the leg speed. Or you might be standing. How's that going for you? Come on, hold it there. So these lower leg speeds, think about how that power delivery, how that intensity feels all the way around the stroke. Nearly done. That's tough, right? Back to bottom end of sweet spot. How does that feel in comparison? Shouldn't feel super easy. Just dropping that intensity in the legs. So that last effort really kicked up my heart rate. Again, bit of fatigue going on there. I mean, you may well be doing this ride today with no care in the world about power or heart rate. You just cycle on feel. Absolutely great. Doesn't matter, whatever works for you. So a little scale here on how the intensity should feel. But you have your own internal scale. I mean, I pretty much know what my heart rates do without even looking at my computer. I just get to feel, am I in control? How much power am I putting out? How do my legs feel? How do you just feel in general? And that's absolutely fine. And if you've gone out and you've forgotten to put your heart rate monitor on, don't worry about it, just go and ride. Just got to pedal. How are we doing with this? Hanging in there. How's the tension in the shoulders? Pull them back. Little jiggle. So again, if you're fairly new to cycling and you spend your whole time riding here or here, and you don't want to go to those kind of scary things. What are those scary things there? Oh, that just looks too scary. Lots of benefits of going down into the drops. So I almost exclusively ride in the drops, especially on a flat road. More aero for a start. But there's some new kind of guidance out about positioning yourself. If you can get really aero down into the hoods, That can be more aerodynamic, but the trick here, when they say you're more aerodynamic in the hoods, it doesn't mean sitting up like this. You kind of really got to get down, right? But if you want to just shift your position around. But if you drop into the hoods, down here, drop into the drops rather, drop into the hoods. Just be mindful of that foot position. So, immediately, I can feel more tension in the posterior chain, that's the muscles all at the back. So you really got to work on keeping that really lovely foot position. So if you're new to cycling, a bit scared doing that on the road, here's the place to try. Practice moving up, moving down, all good. Next effort's coming in about 20 seconds. I'm just having a little chat here with you. Keep on, I've got no one in here with me, you see. No company at all. No eye contact with any clients on bikes. Ready? 1 minute. Pick your effort. I'm going to keep it steady this time. Keeping the same leg speed. Kind of as an instructor, one of the kind of real reasons that you instruct, top secret tip here, or a little inside knowledge, is just to see the pain on people's faces. I mean, how much joy do you think that brings an instructor? Too much! So, I'm hoping out there are some lovely grimaces going on with this little increase in effort. Have your legs started to complain yet? So, although we're below lactate threshold, still creating lactate. So your legs might feel a little bit heavier as we go. Nearly done. Whew. Okay, drop it back down. I do believe we're halfway through. Are we halfway through? Kind of just lose track. I plan all these rides and meticulous planning, and then, I mean, the workout's still going to be there the same, whether or not you know. It's a bit like when you're climbing a mountain, right? A mountain's not going to go, oh, okay, well, you're a little bit tired. I'll flatten the road up a little bit here for you, shall I? No, doesn't really happen. So remember a little bit of heart rate lag maybe going on. If you're a real geek and you put your ride into Strava or Training Peaks, maybe, you'll get a power heart rate separation. So it's measuring the heart rate drift. So this is a good ride to look at that number, to see where you are with your conditioning and form. Because you should, oh, my heart rate's just gone up. You should have stayed aerobic below lactate threshold, and therefore you should get a good trace. So you shouldn't see the heart rate drifting up on both efforts. It should be very flat. So if you find your heart rate just goes a little bit out of control, you want to get the control back. Big deep breath in, close your eyes. Big deep breath, nice and deep. Clearly do not do that on the road. It's not going to end well for anybody. But the deep breathing technique works every time. If you know you're in for a long effort and you've got to keep that body in check, in control, big deep breaths. Get the control back. Just got to drop this. See, I've got a little bit of fatigue going on here. I've got a little bit of drift going on with the heart rate. So, how are you feeling? Feeling still in control? Now, if this is feeling so easy and you've not started to sweat, I mean, you've really got to load that on, right? If you're just going on feel alone, should be comfortable, uncomfortable kind of stage. Just over a minute. I mean, I feel okay. Do you feel okay? But definitely effort there. And if you're feeling all happy and skippy, so the top end of sweet spot, there's going to be more adaptations, but you're going to have to pay that back. So your body's going to be under more stress. Staying towards the bottom end of sweet spot, you could replicate this ride definitely back to back tomorrow. Clearly not straight away. Let the adaptations take place. Okay, going in about 10 seconds. Getting it done. Almost done. So what's your strategy? I'm going to up the leg speed a little bit. Give those legs a bit of a break. So if you do that, drop the gear. So you keep the power output nice and smooth, or drop the resistance. A little bit of shimming around with the arm position. Try not to lock it out. Keep it soft. Now I'm not worried about my elbows being out here on an indoor bike, because there's no aero advantage. I clearly would not do this outdoors, keeping it nice and aero. But here, it's good, comfy, keep the chest open. Do deep breaths. 10 to go. And then I believe we've got one effort. Or maybe we're done. Are we done? No. Oh no. No. That would have been really bad. I didn't want to be finished just yet. 5 minutes to go. Just hang out here. Get the control back. Also, of course, if you're not used to picking your bottle up, another good place to practice. If you're a very novice rider and you stop and take a drink, practice here, just getting used to keeping your head up, reaching down, finding the bottle cage. Yeah, my heart rate's a little bit up. Let's get that down. Don't need that in my life. So almost done. So if you're new to sweet spot, how has that felt? So just a note, if you're going to try and do sweet spot riding on the road, it's pretty tricky. Unless you're blessed with lovely straight roads, no junctions, or a steady long climb where you're not going to be interrupted, it's pretty hard to get that sweet spot intensity in. So many rides on the road, I'm thinking, oh, I've done loads in sweet spot, get back. Very disappointing. But give it your best shot. Two minutes. Are you still with me? Come on. So close. Matter of minutes and you're done. So next ride I'm just in the process of planning. Lovely 30-second climb. 30 minutes even. 30 minutes of fun. Push, push, push all the way. So use that little tempo to lift you up. Changing tempo. Fairly steady. I see the fear in your eyes there. Hold it there. Come on. Got this. Smile, all that pain goes away. Releases the endorphins. Too much fun. Just less than a minute to go to our last minute's effort. So if you've held back a little bit, maybe change it up for that last effort. Again, if you want to practice standing and you don't normally stand on your bike, not a good place to practice indoors, but you've really got to get that extra gear on. Bit easier on an indoor bike to stand because you've got the momentum of the flywheel to help you, keeping it smooth. So if you've not got enough gear on a regular bike, you'll tend to stamp. So you've got to pile that gear on. Last effort coming up. I'm going to drop that leg speed right down. Pile on the hurt. Let's go. Oh. Cadence coming down. 61 RPM. So you should have fairly heavy gear on if you're going that slow. Got any knee issues, please be careful. Feel any uncomfortableness in the knees, back off. Maybe get someone to check your bike position, you're not too far forwards over the knee. Less than 30 seconds. Come on. Nearly done. Come on. 10. And done. So if you stuck with that, 40 minutes of solid effort. Legs might feel a little bit fatigued after that ride. Let's cool down. Let's warm down. So we've got 7.5 minutes to bring that control back. So it's a fairly long block of effort. Kind of didn't get much in terms of recovery. So the legs might feel a little bit heavy. So 7.5 minutes is the minimum kind of cool down period. If you want to cycle for longer, cool down for longer, you feel like your body is just needs a little bit of extra time, go ahead. So for the purposes of this session, I'm just going to give you 7.5 minutes to cool down. So get the control, maybe sit up, a couple of big deep breaths. Hands on your tummy, feel that diaphragm come out. How's that recovery? If you're tracking your heart rate, is it dropping off the cliff? Nice one. Mark of really good fitness. So we're after fast recovery. You'll recover quicker when you're doing efforts. That's good. Keep the deep breathing going. Keep the fluids going. Apologies for the slurpy. Just going to drop down here. Get my recovery going. My heart rate dropped right down. 65%. So I have a little game I play when I'm doing indoor rides. So I'm not allowed off the bike until I've got my heart rate down to 58% max heart rate. You know, by that stage, you're feeling very recovered, very in control, and it's a good marker. You might have a different marker. Do you always do 20 minutes cool down, or do you always do something less? But whatever you do, really important that you do a good solid cool down. So I'm just going to up my leg speed just a little bit. So pumping the waste products out of the legs. So too short a cool down, and that's where you're not going to help your legs. You're going to feel pretty heavy after you've done. If you've ever seen any pro cycling, you'll see how long they sit on their turbo trainers after they've done a stage. Many, many minutes. They do not want their legs feeling heavy the next day. And it doesn't matter if you're planning on going out on a bike, it's just not a very pleasant feeling, is it? Keeping it going here. Just over 3 more minutes. So how did you enjoy that ride today? Good? So maybe try and be a little bit, you're going to do that ride again. Be a little bit creative with what options you've got. Maybe, you know, we've got four 1 minute efforts in each block. Maybe do each one a little bit different. Or do the first block different to the second block. Try and keep it interesting. So I've got workout files on my computer. If you're interested at all, and you've got a bike computer or smart trainer, and you want those files, drop me a message. I'll tell you how you can get hold of them. So you probably think I've just done nothing with my gears today and nothing, no effort going in at all. I promise you, I've not got an easy option at all, because once the power changes, it changes instantaneously. I can't bail on a ride. You know, I can't bail on a workout. Once I've committed to it, I can't adjust it. I'm in for it. 2 minutes. If you like what we're doing here on this little channel, if you like the kind of workouts we're doing, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel. Want some more information on some of the stuff that we do? Got a Facebook page as well, you can head on over there. Loads of places to get lots more detail and fun. Oh, recovery, I just feel, you feel amazing out there. I'm feeling all ready and just, yeah, that was a good solid workout. Feel it a little bit. Gotta work on my fatigue. Might have an easier day tomorrow. Importantly, have the recovery. Just less than a minute to go. How do you feel? You feel fully recovered? Breathing's very under control, not laboured at all. Very easy effort. All good. 30 seconds. Happy days. Yeah, you're looking quite chilled out there now, folks. I like that. Feeling quite chilled. Remember, every pedal stroke, right to the very end. And there we go. Thank you very much, everybody. Till next time.